Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and after we have our props, we're going to start seated. And for today, we're going to actually take Sukhasana instead of Siddhasana. So Sukhasana, we want to make sure our ankles are directly underneath our knees and we're sitting up on something, whether it's a block, a blanket, a pillow, something, just so that our hips are roughly higher than our knees. And then once you're seated, go ahead and plant your hands wherever feels comfortable for you so that you feel like your arm bones just hang straight down. And then from there, you'll go ahead and soften the gaze or close the eyes. And the first thing that we're going to do once we find ourselves into this position with our hands resting on our thighs, with our eyes soft or the gaze completely closed down, is I want you to just notice your breath. I want you to begin to observe where the breath goes into the body. Start to notice any of the sensations that results as your breath becomes more connected to your awareness. And then as you continue to notice the breath, notice the sensations, see if you can notice who and or what might be noticing those two things. In our practice today, we are going to work with this concept I've been trying to integrate in my life for this week, which is this concept of breathe with, be with. I can't speak for any of you, but I do know that for me, I feel like I just have a lot of crap on my plate and it feels like it just keeps coming. I know that for those of you that are adjusting back into the fall season, that might have a lot more things that are being asked of you. And the challenge I'm noticing is that I need to slow down just a little bit so that I can be with and breathe with all the things that are happening so that I can A, really respond how I would like to, but B, actually enjoy it as it's happening. Certain facets of life seem to go so quickly. And lately, I just have noticed myself in this go, 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 where I'm not actually enjoying or witnessing or experiencing what's going on. And I would like to not do that. And I can imagine that I'm not the only one that might experience that from time to time. So, as you take these next two couple of breaths here, I want you to just observe what you observe in this moment. What shifted? Where might you find a little bit more softness in the shape of the body? On your next in breath, you can turn the back of your head towards your left shoulder. The eyes can still remain closed if they're closed. And as the head goes towards your right, because the back of the head is going towards the left shoulder, you just notice what you notice happening across the front of the throat. What's happening on the left side? What do you notice in the shoulder blades in the back body, particularly on the left side? Next in breath, turn the back of the head back behind you. And then as you exhale, take the back of the head towards your right shoulder. So now your face is going towards the left. And again, just take a couple of breaths here. What's happening in the shoulders? Can you soften them away from the ears? What's happening in the breath? Is it still full and still deep? Back of the head will now come back to center. Go ahead and drop your right ear towards your right shoulder and then just take a couple of breaths here. Again, notice what's happening in the shoulders. Can you keep the collarbones wide as the shoulder blades slide down the back? Next in breath, head comes back through center. As you exhale, drop the left ear over towards the left. And again, just pause and breathe and notice what you notice. Can you find a little bit more spaciousness on the left underside of your neck? Next in breath, come back through center. As you exhale, start to send your chin forward and up. Your face might look up towards the ceiling or the sky. And you just take a couple of breaths here, again, noticing the shoulders sliding down the back, the broadening of the collarbones in the front. Next in breath, head comes back through center. And then as you exhale, draw your chin towards your chest. Let the upper bit of the neck lengthen and just notice what you notice. Nice work. Next in breath, come back to center. Take a breath here. If you'd like to keep the cross of your shin bones, great. If you'd like to switch the cross of your shin bones, great. And then we'll add on to what we just did. All right. So starting eyes soft or gaze closed, go ahead and draw the back of your head towards your right shoulder. So now your face is going over towards your left. And you just take a couple of breaths to pause here. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will draw your right hand to your left thigh. Your left hand maybe to the left of you, maybe a little bit behind you, and you'll start to slowly rotate more of your upper torso towards your left. You might find more of your face reaching towards the back of your space, and you just pause and you breathe here in this gentle twist. Again, noticing what's happening in the shoulders. Are they still sliding away from the ears? Can you breathe into the abdomen, breathe into the collarbones? Now to come out of this, the back of your head comes towards your left shoulder, your face comes over your right shoulder, and then unwind the torso. Great. And then hands on the thighs, take the back of your head towards your left shoulder, your face starts to go towards the right, and you just start by rotating just in the cervical spine. Some of you will stay there. Some of you will draw your left hand to your right thigh, right hand off to the right, maybe slightly behind you, and you'll rotate towards the right. And again, you just pause and you breathe. You notice what you notice. Awesome sauce. When you're ready, you turn the back of your head towards your right shoulder. Your face comes over your left shoulder. And then you unwind the spine and replant the hands. Fantastic. Go ahead and drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. And you'll pause here and maybe you'll stay here. Some of you will reach your right hand out to the right. And then maybe see if you can draw your chin a little bit down towards your chest, or maybe arc your chin up a little bit towards the sky. But you're just pausing here and breathing and noticing what's happening here on your right side body. Breathing with the sensations. Next in breath, right hand comes back to the thigh, head comes back through center, and then we'll try that on the other side. So drop your right ear over to your right shoulder. Happy to stay here. Maybe you extend your left hand out to the left. Maybe you drop your chin a little bit towards your chest or your shoulder. Maybe you reach your chin up towards the sky, but you're finding a nice stretch along the left side of your neck. Nice work. Draw the left hand back to the thigh, bring the head back to center. This time, as you exhale, draw your chin to your chest. Some of you might slide your hands forward onto your shins or knees and then start to round your upper back like you're finding a cat. And you're pulling against your shins that are maybe pushing forward in opposition. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what that feels like. When you're ready, you'll come through and you'll find yourself back into that neutral position. And then we'll find our cat pose, or rather our cow back. So you'll start to reach your chest forward, your head up. And again, you can pull on the fronts of your shin bones to pull the heart forward and through. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Great. Next in breath, come back through center. And then just take a moment to pause and breathe and notice what you notice. Our ability to be with things gives us the capacity to know when change is needed, and if change is needed, what change is needed. All right, if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open your eyes and let's come forward onto hands and knees. If you have blocks, you might put them towards the upper outer corners of your space, so they'll probably be off your mat and you're not going to need them for now. Straps off to the side. If your knees are sensitive, you might put a blanket on, or rather underneath your knees. And you can either do that by literally putting them underneath the shins this way or tucking it underneath your thigh bones this way. But in either case, we are going to draw our toes together and separate our knees pretty far apart. So instead of it being a nice close child's pose, you're going to do a little bit wider. And then we're going to crawl ourselves forward and come to the tips of our fingertips and find our child's pose on this wide-legged child's pose. And as you come here, first thing you want to do is push your hands down and forward, draw your pelvis down and back, and then see if you can lift your elbows and your armpits away from the floor as your forehead touches the floor. And you'll just take a couple of breath cycles here, noticing what's happening in the upper back space, noticing what's happening in the inner thighs, noticing if you can breathe deep into the belly and then into the low back. Fantastic. Some of you will continue to stay exactly as you are. Some of us will lift our head, walk our hands over to your right. Keep your hands shoulder distance apart. You'll walk your right hand forward a little further so your right side body stays long, and lower your head in line with your arms. Now from here, push your left fingertips down and forward, draw your left outer hip back, and just take a couple of breaths here to pause, to breathe, to notice what you notice. Make sure the right side body still stays long and breathe into your pelvis, breathe into your hips. Next in breath, go ahead and lift the head, walk your hands back through center, and then continue to walk your hands over to your left. Once you're over to the left, again, you'll inchworm the left hand a little further away from you so your left side body stays long. Press down and forward into your right hand. Draw your right hand back towards your right hip and allow your head to descend towards the floor between your arms. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. Fantastic. Next in breath, go ahead and lift the head, walk back through center, and just take a breath here. Notice what you notice. Last little thing. Let's go ahead and lift our head again. Walk our hands back towards the right. Step your right hand closer to your right knee. You might put your whole left palm on the floor or keep your left heel of the hand lifted. Start to push down into your right hand. Lift your head a little bit and rotate just your upper rib cage a little bit towards your right. You might now find this fun stretch happening along your left side body from your armpit all the way down to your hip. Say hello to your latissimus dorsi, and you just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. Next in breath will unwind, so the right hand will come back forward. You'll walk both hands back through your center. Take a pause here, and then walk your hands over to your left. Fantastic. So step your left hand close to your left knee. The right palm might come down to the mat or keep the heel of the hand lifted, and then start to lightly push into your left hand to rotate just your upper chest, upper rib cage towards your left. And as you pull back isometrically with that right hand, you'll feel a fun stretch out, hopefully happening from your armpit down to your waist. Nice work. When you're ready, gently step that left hand forward, walk back through center, and then shift your weight forward to hands and knees. At this point, you'll have to walk your legs back into your midline so they're directly underneath your hips. Hands directly underneath your shoulders, and just take a moment to pause and feel what this feels like. Curl both sets of toes under, and then start to push your pelvis up and back to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Bend your knees as much as you need to come into your downward facing dog. And for this first down dog, notice if you want to slowly shift the pelvis a little right to left. Notice if you want to slowly bend one knee or the other. Notice if you want to come a little forward into the hands or go a little further back. So right now we're doing movement, but we're doing conscious movement. Sometimes it feels like we move unconsciously. We've got thought patterns going on and we're not connected to the physical sensations of the body. But right now we're trying to really just connect in, tune in, see what's happening. Awesome. And once you've got your exploration done, go ahead and come to stillness. Next in breath, raise to the balls of your feet. And then as you exhale, bend your knees and start to walk to the top of your space. Once you get to the top of your space, separate your feet about hip distance apart. This would be a great opportunity to put your hands on blocks if the floor feels really far away. If you can easily touch the floor, no worries. We're just trying to find a closed chain. So I want you to pay attention to the spreading of your feet, the rooting down of your pelvis through your legs into the heels. Noticing how you can shift your pelvis up and over the heads of your thigh bones to let your spine drop. And then notice if you can maybe tuck your chin to your chest just a little bit. So even, yep, the back of your head continues to drip towards the floor. Fantastic. Next, in breath, let's come to halfway lift. So either slide your hands to your fingers, fingers to the shins, shins or fingers to the blocks, and then reach your sternum forward, your pubic bone back. Pause for a moment here. Find that engagement from your sit bones to your legs. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back, your sternum forward, and then your next exhale, fold all the way back in, hinging over the thigh bones until you can let your spine just drape all the way down. Next in breath, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana. And once we find ourselves with our arms alongside our ears, again, bend your knees just a little bit if you feel a little dizzy. And I want you to find the connection from your sit bones down to your heel. So really imagine that you're pushing your pelvis down into your legs and then simultaneously reach your shoulders up into your fingertips. Maybe take your gaze up and find that nice long length across the whole front of your body. And on your next exhale, let the arms come out to the side and back down alongside your waist. Soften the gaze or close the eyes and just notice what you notice here. Big, deep, full breath. All right, let's move on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Take a moment in Urdhva Hastasana once again to connect your pelvis down through the legs, down through the feet, and then lifting the waist up into the shoulders, up into the hands. Maybe this time your gaze comes up. Next, exhale, turn your palms away from you. Slowly press the arms down to the floor as you hinge at your hips, coming into your forward fold. Fantastic. From there, again, let the chin nestle into the chest so the back of the spine becomes fully elongated. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right leg back, step your left leg back, plank pose. Take 3 breath cycles here, just a calm, steady, even breath. And you just notice what you notice. So you continue to push the hands, the heels, or rather the index finger, the thumb into the mat. Your inner armpits lift up. On your next in-breath, shift your weight forward. Knees can come down or lower in one piece all the way to your belly. Nice work. Once you're onto your abdomen, extend the tops of the feet onto the floor. First, engage your glutes, press the tops of your feet to the floor, push your hands down, and then isometrically pull your hands back to draw your pubic bone to your belly button to your sternum forward to come into your cobra pose. Once you're there, notice if you can draw the shoulder blades onto your back body, pull your heart forward just a little bit more and re-engage your feet and your glutes. Exhale, lower all the way down. Your choice, either hands and knees or plank pose, but you'll come up to hands and knees or plank, and then you'll make your way back to downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Now, this time as you're in the downward facing dog, just start to observe the breath. Can you make the breath smooth? Can you make the breath even? As we start to take this one more time, this is just our Surya Namaskar A to start to warm the body. We want to start to become more aware of the breath. Next in breath, come to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, and step to the top of your space. Once you get to the top of your space, again, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, halfway lift, draw your heart forward and through. And then exhale, fold all the way in. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. And again, we're going to pause at the top. So again, root down through your feet. So from the pelvis, down through the legs, down through the feet, and then from the waist, up through the ribs, up through the shoulders, up through the hands. Now this time, let's cactus our elbows. So you'll squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. Your elbows will start to bend. Your sternum will lift. And you'll take a couple of breath cycles here, breathing wide across the chest, lifting the sternum, noticing the breath. Noticing the weight into your heels, into your feet. Awesome. Next, exhale, the elbows continue to bend, the hands come down alongside your waist. Take a moment to pause. Take a moment to breathe. All right, let's build on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, turn your palms away from you and slowly hinge at your hips. Press the arms away, come all the way down to the floor. Once the hands touch the blocks or the floor, let the head continue to drop down. And then inhale, halfway lift. Now this time, see if you can really arch your pubic bone over your thighs so your heart can come forward. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms. This time, step your left leg back and then step your right leg back, plank pose. 3 breath cycles. Just notice what you notice happening here. Notice what you notice happening in your legs. Are your legs as active as your arms? Is your core as active as your glutes? Next in breath, shift your weight forward. Knees can lower or all the way down in one piece. Once you're down, extend the tops of the feet onto the floor. Engage the legs, engage the feet. Pull yourself forward into cobra and just take a couple of breaths here. Now in this cobra, again, you press the tops of your feet down. You hug the shoulder blades onto the back body. The elbows come towards the midline. And then see if you can pull your pubic bone to your belly button, to your sternum, towards your throat. And then notice if you can lengthen the back of the neck. Nice. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come up, hands and knees or plank, your choice. Exhale, back to downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Re-engage with the breath. Is the breath smooth? Is the breath even? Is the inhalation and the exhalation the same duration, the same length? Next in breath, press to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of space. Great. Once you're at the top of your space, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold in Uttanasana. Inhale, sit, Utkatasana, chair pose. So now this time, we want to see if we can reach out through our pinky fingers. And you'll notice what that does to your shoulder blades. And then notice what that does to your chest. It probably gives you the capacity to lift your gaze just a bit. And then as we bend our knees, we're going to stay here longer than you want to. So I'm sorry in advance. But I want you to pay attention to where the weight is in your feet. Does it feel like it's forward? Does it feel like it's back? Notice what's happening to your knees. How is that feeling? Notice if you can find a little bit more space between your pelvis and your rib cage. And then notice if you can soften any tension around your shoulders and your neck. And then see if you can sit 1/2 a millimeter slower. And you just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. On your next in-breath, push through your heels, straighten your legs, reach your arms up, pause. Again, press the pelvis down into the legs, down into the feet. Reach the waist up to the ribs, up to the shoulders, up to the elbows, up to the fingertips. Fantastic. Long front body. Exhale, cactus the elbows. This time, think of swinging your elbows forward a smidge, the palms of the hands back a smidge. Whole front body stays long and open. Tailbone, pubic bone lengthen down, heart opens up. Next, exhale, continue to bend the elbows, draw the hands alongside the hips, draw the spine to a neutral spine. And you just pause and you breathe. All right, let's add on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, start to bend your knees and sit your butt. So we're going back to chair pose. Notice how this one feels a little different coming from the top versus coming from the bottom. And you just take 3 or 4 breaths here. Maybe you send your butt back just a little bit. Notice if that lets your heart come forward, that lets your knees bend a bit. Next exhalation, you'll turn your palms away from you. Your arms will start to straighten. Your legs will start to straighten, and you're going to come down towards your forward fold. Fantastic. Inhale, halfway lift. Maybe fingers are on blocks or floor this time. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, go ahead and step just your right leg back. Now, this isn't going to be fun, but we're going to try it. So you're going to push down into your left foot. You're going to push down into your right foot. You're going to draw your heart forward, sweep your hands back, and now we're in this weird lunge. From there, push into your feet, squeeze your legs together isometrically to draw your spine up to vertical. And then maybe we'll bring our hands to our hips. With our hands on our hips, think of drawing your shoulder blades together on your back, your sternum and heart lifts, and then maybe you can lift your gaze a millimeter. Maybe your gaze can maybe come to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Maybe your gaze can start to come up towards the sky. Nice job. On your next exhale, bring your spine back to a neutral position. Go ahead and lower your hands down to the floor or your blocks. Start to shift your weight back, straighten your front leg long. Some of you will stay right here, happy as happy little clams. Some of you will start to peel the sole of your left foot up and away from the floor. Again, wherever you are, we're pushing down into both feet. If you're peeling the sole of your left foot up, you're pushing down into your left heel, and then you're dragging it back isometrically to find a fun stretch along the back of your left leg. Nice work. Next in-breath, let's go ahead and bend the front knee, plant both palms, step your left leg back, plank pose. Happy fun breath cycle here. Now, here's our slight variation. This time, go ahead and soften both knees to the mat. As you inhale, drop your bum, or rather, drop your belly, lift your pelvis, drop your belly, lift your pelvis. Then start to drop your chest and lift your gaze. So cow pose. Nope. There we go. And then exhale, round from your bum all the way through into your cat pose. Round from your bum all the way into your cat pose. Awesome. One more time. Inhale into cow shape. So again, starting from the pelvis, dropping the belly, lifting the bum, dropping the heart, lifting the chest. Awesome. And then rounding from the pelvis all the way into your cat pose. Nice job. All right. Inhale, come into a neutral spine. As you exhale, curl the toes under, lift your butt up and back, downward facing dog. And just take a moment to pause and breathe. So we did this out of order. Normally we do cat and cows first, but just notice what you notice having done this differently. Fantastic. Next in breath, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, step your left foot between your hands. So we're back into that low lunge we were just in. So your left leg should be forward, Sandy. Yep. And then step your right foot forward to the top of your space, Uttanasana, forward fold. Awesome sauce. Next in breath, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold all the way in. Let your head really drop so chin comes towards your chest. Inhale, bend your knees, sit your butt, Utkatasana, chair pose. Now, this time as we're in chair pose, again, I want you to see what it feels like to really pay attention to your feet. So you're rooting from your pelvis, and it has to go through your knees, and then it has to go through your ankles, and it has to go through your heels. And then as that's just settling down, it's grounding down, it's letting you be present. You're finding the lift of your ribs away from your pelvis, the lift of your shoulders away from your waist, the lift of your elbows away from your shoulders, lift of the wrists away from your elbows. Next in breath, stand up, reach up, look up. Again, find that long body. So pelvis down to legs, legs down to feet, feet into floor. Then again, cactus the elbows. This time again, keep scooping pubic bone to belly button to sternum, sternum to sky in this orientation. Elbows will come forward a little bit, hands will go back. As you exhale, hands will come down towards your waist, or sorry, hands will come down to your hips, elbows towards your waist, and just pause and breathe. All right, let's add on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, sit for your awkward chair pose. And again, see this time if we can send our butt a little lower back. It feels like you might arch your pubic bone or arch your pelvis, so your pubic bone swinging back just a little bit, just to find the length in your back. Next, exhale, palms turn away from you. Slowly press them towards the floor as you straighten your legs and fold over your hips. Once you get all the way down, really let your head continue to nestle into your chest so that you feel the length along your whole back line. Next, in breath, Ardha Uttanasana, so halfway lift. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your left leg long and back. And we pause here for a moment. Maybe hands are on blocks. Root down into your right foot. Root down into your left foot. Reach your heart forward and then sweep your arms back. From there, you're going to push into your feet to draw your spine up to vertical. Nice job, guys and gals. Once you're vertical, we really push down from the center of our pelvis into our heel. And maybe we draw our hands onto our hips. And then maybe we just start by having our gaze come straight out in front of us. And then maybe we notice that if we draw our shoulder blades together on our back, our sternum can come, our gaze can lift. And maybe now we're looking at where the wall and the ceiling meet. And then maybe we can keep letting our gaze come up, and maybe our gaze comes up towards where the sky is. And you just take a couple of breaths and you pause and you breathe. Nice work. Bring your gaze back to center. Go ahead and lower your hands down to the floor or the blocks, and then straighten your front leg long. Now, at this point, again, we might just keep the sole of our right foot on the floor. We might peel the sole of our right foot up and away from the floor. Wherever we are, we want to work towards squaring our pelvis. So that, interestingly enough, means that you're probably drawing your outer right hip back and your outer left hip back as you lift back through your inner left thigh. And you just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. All right, next in breath, let's go ahead and come forward. Bend the front knee, plant the palms, step back to plank pose, falling Kasana. Couple of breath cycles here, just calm, steady, smooth breath. The end of your next exhalation, soften your knees to the mat. As you inhale, drop the belly, find yourself into your cow shape. And then as you exhale, round through the spine, find yourself into your cat shape. Do that one more time and just notice if you notice anything different about having warmed up the body in this orientation to time and space. Awesome sauce. All right. The next time you're in that neutral spine, stay there. Exhale, curl the toes under and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And you just pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. Fantastic. Let's move on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. And then exhale, step your right foot between your hands. So back to that low lunge we were just in. And then giant step to the top of your mat, both feet hip distance apart. Great. From there, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Let your heart come forward a little bit more there, Steve. There we go. And then exhale, fold all the way in. Last time, inhale, bend your knees, sit your butt low, Utkatasana, chair pose. Awesome sauce. And then just pause and breathe. See if you can draw the shoulder blades together. Reach the heart forward. Next, exhale, push through your heels to straighten your legs. Again, take a moment to lift the whole front of the body long. Reach the pelvis down, reach the torso up. Exhale, cactus the elbows once again. heart lifts, elbows forward a little bit, hands back. And then go ahead and draw the hands alongside the hips, the spine back to neutral. Take a moment to soften the gaze and just breathe and notice what you notice. All right, let's move on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, turn the palms away from you, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, plank pose, Phalangasana. Complete breath cycle here. Let's be with the sensation, with the breath. Next in-breath, shift your weight forward. As you exhale, lower all the way down. Okay, take your time to come into your cobra. So first activate your glutes, activate your legs, activate your feet. Push down into your hands, pull them back isometrically as you draw your heart and sternum forward. And then notice that you can draw the shoulder blades together on the back and maybe start to push a little bit more weight into your hands and push into your feet a little bit more. And maybe your cobra is a little higher. Maybe the arms are a little bit more active. Exhale, lower all the way down. Curl the toes under, tone the legs, then tone the belly into the spine. Push down into the hands and come up into plank. Yep. And then downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Breathe with. What's that part of life that maybe you were being asked to breathe with it, to go with it? All right, this next one, we're going to see how this one goes. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Pause, spin your left foot down for warrior 2. Keep your hands exactly as they are. Now, depending upon your body, you may want to have your back foot bisect your front heel. You may want to have a wider stance. It will change what this next thing feels like, so you adjust for you. Bring your right hand to the inside edge of your right leg. Draw your right hand behind the back of your right calf. Great. Draw your outer right hip straight back. Yep. Draw your left hand inside your right ankle, so it'll come a little closer to your right foot. Now reach your heart and sternum forward. Some of you will be in this warrior 2 leg and you can hold on to your right ankle with your left hand. Some of you will be like, Jessica, you have lost your mind. Wherever you are, we are pausing and we are breathing. See if you can push down onto your left ankle, reach your heart forward. Yeah, so we're breathing with this uncomfortable sensation that you are going to want to bail on in half of a second, but see if you can breathe with this. If you can draw your outer right hip back, your inner right thigh forward, and you're continuing to push down from your sit bone into your right heel. Awesome. Let's go ahead and release our hands. Keep your hands on your blocks for most of us. Draw the right hand inside of your right foot. Draw your left hand to your left hip. From here, push down into your back foot. Push down into your front foot. Push your right elbow into your right inner thigh and start to roll your happy rib cage towards the left. Now, as we're here, our inner right thigh is still going forward. Our outer right hip is still coming back. Reach your left hand forward parallel to the floor. And then you'll extend your left arm alongside your ears for extended side angle. And you just pause and you breathe. This was a fun transition in and out of this. And by fun, I mean wow. And so you're just pausing and you're breathing. You're noticing what you notice as we entered the pose from the ground up. Nice work. Now here's our next fun transition. Your gaze is going to come to the floor. Your left hand is going to sweep back behind you and you'll bring your spine up for warrior 2. That front leg is still probably talking to us because it's been bent this whole freaking time. And so you're pausing and you're breathing. You're reaching out through your left arm. That's the back arm. You're reaching forward through your right arm. That's the front arm. Your gaze is ideally over the middle finger of your front hand. And then you're breathing with the sensations. You're breathing with the thoughts that come up. You're breathing with the feelings. On your next exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the mat, pivot to the ball of your back foot, and then step your right foot back to plank pose, and then push your pelvis back to downward facing dog. And then just take 3 to 4 breath cycles here. What do you notice in your hips? What do you notice in your legs? What do you notice in your back and in your breath? Great. Let's try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Fantastic. Spin your right foot to the floor. Now, again, this is dependent upon your body. You might want to bisect the back heel with the front, or the front heel with the back foot. So meaning you're going to walk your left foot a little bit, right foot more to the left, or you might walk the right foot more to the right. It's completely up to you. But you're going to bring your left hand to the inside edge of your left thigh. Then you'll walk your left hand behind your left foot. Awesome. Then you'll start to walk your right hand closer to your left foot. From here, you'll draw your outer left hip back. You'll press down like crazy into your right foot, and your heart and sternum will come forward. And you just pause and you breathe. How do we breathe with the uncertain things that happen in life? I mean, at one point in time, we all could do this. Maybe we all couldn't do this, but we all thought we could do this. And we just pause and we breathe. And so that inner left thigh is going forward. The outer left hip is coming straight back. Fantastic. All right. Let's come out of this now. So your left hand comes to the inside edge of your left thigh. Hand is probably still on that block. Right hand comes to your right hip. Push the thigh and the arm into each other to reach your heart forward, and then roll your rib cage towards the right. Now we want to keep pushing down into our knife edge of our back foot. We're hugging the arm and the left leg towards each other, and then reach your right arm parallel to the floor in front of you. Then sweep that arm alongside your ears like a happy pizza slicer, and you just pause and you breathe. You're finding the length on your left side body, that's the underside body, to roll your ribs forward and up. Great. Now here's the fun transition. Your gaze comes to the floor, your right hand swims back. You come up for warrior two. Awesome. And you pause. And so now you just notice what you notice. You're reaching out through your right hand, that's the back hand. You're reaching out through your front hand, that's the left hand. You're softening the shoulders away from the ears. You're pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. Nice work. On your next exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. Step back into a plank pose. And then back into downward facing dog. 3 breaths. 3 breaths. Okay. Some of you will rest for a bit in child's pose. Some of you will take a plank forward and then find your cobra pose. But you choose what works best for you. You're breathing with the sensations. You're breathing with the information, the knowledge, the wisdom that you're having at this moment in time. Not what you thought it could be or should be, but what it actually is. And those of you that have cycled through, you'll go back to down dog and take a couple of breaths. And then from your down dog, if you would like to take a brief momentary pause in child's pose, by all means, do that. And then we'll move on. All right. If you're in child's pose, please meet us in downward facing dog. Awesome sauce. All right. From downward facing dog, inhale, raise to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float top of space. Great. Once you find yourself at the top of your space, this time let's separate our feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Okay. And then with your hands on the floor or your blocks, we're going to bend our knees and see how low we can sit our tuchus towards our heels. Okay. Now, we want to see, there are people like me that can just sit here and hang out. We don't want to do that. We want to lift our butt just a little bit so we can feel the muscles of our legs engage. And so, as we push our hands into each other, we're going to pray for dear life because this is what's going to happen. You're going to stay here, and then after maybe about 5 more seconds, I'm going to ask you to start pushing into your heels to straighten your legs and come all the way up to stand. Okay. And then once you get all the way up, of course, I'm going to make you go back down. So you're going to slowly descend your butt back down to that position that's not you sitting in your full um, end of range motion. I mean, we are trying to do full range of motion, but not the full one. Great. And then you get to the bottom and you hover here for about 3 to 4 breaths. And then we come all the way back up again. Oh, wow, Jessica, isn't that awful? All right. And of course, we came up, so we have to go back down. So you're going to slowly descend your butt back down to the floor. Da, 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 da. And this is our last one, I promise. And so we're going to hover here for about 3 to 4 breaths. Da, 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 da. And last one. Hooray. All right. Now, once you're up, I want you to shake that out because that wasn't fun. That was literally just resistance weight training. But hey, you did it. Hooray, you did it. Good job. Okay. All right. Let's move on. So standing at the top of your space, feet hip distance apart, palms face forward. Let's move on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. All right. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold, Uttanasana. Okay. From here, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right leg long and back. Okay, so just like what we did before, we're going to push into our left foot, that's the front foot, push into our right foot, that's the back foot. Hug those points together and then inhale, come up for high crescent lunge, Ashta Chandrasana. So this time maybe our arms can sweep up and overhead. Awesome. Hi, Alexia. And then maybe we stay exactly as we are. Maybe we start to cactus the elbows and maybe our gaze just comes forward. And then maybe it comes up to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Maybe it comes up towards where the sky is. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Nice work. Next in breath, arms reach up, spine comes back to its normal orientation. Cool. Listen closely as you exhale, spin your back foot down, open to a Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Great. And we've just been here, so we've got the stability in our legs. We can reach back now through our right hand. We can settle more into our front leg. And we just pause and we breathe. And some of you will stay right here, happy as a clam. Some of you will turn your front palm to face the sky, and you'll reach up and back to find your reverse warrior. But I want you to continue to bend into your front knee so you find the elongation of the pelvis reaching down, but the ribs reaching away from your pelvis of your front leg. Nice work. Next in breath, return to Warrior 2. As you exhale, continue to cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Step yourself back to plank pose. Lower your knees to the mat. Inhale into your cow shape. Exhale into your cat shape. One more time. Inhale into your cow. And exhale into your cat. Next in breath, come to a neutral spine. And exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. And just pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. All right. On your next in breath, raise to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend your knees, empty your belly, step or float, top of space. Fantastic. Feet hip distance apart. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, fold in. And this time, as you fold in, really see if you can continue to root from your pelvis through your legs, through your heels. And then let your ribs come away from your waist, your shoulders away from the ribs, the ears away from the shoulders. All right. Inhale, bend your knees, sit down, Utkatasana, chair pose. You just have to do this before I make you do the other side. And again, just take a pause here. Draw the shoulder blades onto the back body. Let that lift the sternum. Reach from the shoulders, through the elbows, through the wrists, through the fingers. Next exhale, cactus the elbows, lift the chest, straighten the legs. So we took a step out. And just pause and breathe. Okay. Inhale, release, back to neutral. Draw your hands alongside your waist, or rather hips, it goes. Last time, inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold, Uttanasana. And once you're all the way down, really let the head nestle in towards your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your left leg long and back. Awesome. Now pause. Root into your right foot, front foot, root into your back foot, left foot. Hug those points together. And then inhale, come up for high crescent lunge. Great. Then you just pause. And again, we're just pushing into the front foot, pushing into the back foot. Happy to stay here, or maybe you start to cactus your elbows. Your heart may come forward. It might come to where the wall and ceiling meet. It might take your gaze all the way up to the sky. Nice job. Next in breath, bring your spine back to neutral, your arms alongside your ears. And then exhale, open to warrior two. So spin the back foot down, let the arms open out. Awesome. And you might just stay here, happy to stay here. You might flip the front palm and reverse your warrior, continuing to bend into your front knee, finding the separation, the length, the space between your waist and your hip on that front leg. Nice job. Next exhale, come back to warrior two. Continue to cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Low lunge, and then step yourself back, downward facing dog. Once you find yourself in down dog, happy to stay here. Or for last time, maybe you cycle through an up dog or a cobra. But you take your time. We've done the cats and the cows. You just pause and you breathe. Awesome. And then once you get back to down dog, stay there for a couple of breath cycles or lower to child's pose. It's your choice. Great. All right. Let's meet back in down dog if we're not there yet. On your next in breath, go ahead and raise to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of space. Okay. In your forward fold, let's again check in. Root from your sit bones through your legs, through your heels into the floor. Let your pelvis roll over the heads of your thighs. Let your waist come away from your hips, your ribs away from your waist, your shoulders away from your ribs, your head just nestles down. Let it be really heavy. Awesome. Next in breath, halfway lift. See if you can keep your fingers either on floors or blocks or shins. How long can you make that spine? Yep. Yep. Yeah. And then exhale, fold all the way in again. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana, and you'll stay there for a couple of breath cycles. So again, rooting from your legs, your pelvis, down into the legs, down into the feet, down into the floor. Finding the lift of the waist away from the pelvis, the arms lifting up, the gaze lifting up, finding that long stretch across the front of the body and the back of the body. And then exhale, hands come down alongside your hips. Soften the gaze or close the eyes and just breathe. A lot of the things we do, I think we do, or at least I think I do, because I think it'll make me feel better once I've done it. But how can I allow myself to feel good in the moment, in the process of doing it? You really have to, I think, be present with what's going on in order for that to be a possibility. And so as we go into this next phase, we'll see how that works. Go ahead and bring your hands to your hips. You can keep the gaze closed if you'd like, but it might be a little bit easier if you open your eyes. You'll shift your weight to your right leg. You'll float your left leg up. And then we're going to externally rotate our right thigh, or rather our left thigh, and see if you can draw your left foot into the inside edge of your right thigh. And maybe it's not right now happening to have your foot this high. So you can put the foot on the shin or the foot on the floor. But we'll see if we can bring ourselves into a position where we can allow ourselves to be with the wobbles that might be happening in our right ankle. If we can allow ourselves to continue to think of the pelvis, that sit bone going down through the leg, down into the foot. If we can continue to focus on the pelvis, even on the gesturing leg, going down into the leg and down into the foot. And we just pause and we breathe. And then maybe you might want to take your hands somewhere. Maybe they come to heart center. Maybe they reach up and alongside your ears. Maybe you decide to cactus the elbows or reach the heart forward and maybe even take the gaze up. Nice work. Wherever you are, let's see if we can bring our spine back into a neutral spine. Maybe arms are high. And then we'll exhale and we'll release. We'll come back to Tadasana. We'll soften the gaze. We'll soften the body. We'll soften the breath. And when you're ready, you'll try the other side. So hands might come back to hips first. You'll shift your weight to your left. You'll float your right leg up and then externally rotate from the hip. Bring that right foot into touch your left thigh. It might be at the thigh, it might be at the calf, it might be at the ankle, it doesn't really matter. But we're focusing on the connections on that supporting leg specifically from that sit bone down the leg down to the heel, and then on the gesturing leg from the sit bone down through the leg, down through the heel. And then we're paying attention. Can we be with the wobbles in the left ankle? Maybe the hands are at heart center. Maybe the arms are alongside our ears. Oh, wow, this ankle wobbles a lot. Maybe we cactus the elbows. And wherever you are, it's okay. Balance isn't the static thing. Being with all the fun things of our life isn't the static thing. It's really just navigating, it's adjusting moment by moment. All right. When you're ready, you'll bring your spine back to a neutral position. And gently release. Go ahead and soften the gaze, close the eyes, and maybe you internally have a little wiggle of the body as you're doing that. All right. Last little thing. Let's go ahead and turn to face the long edge of our mat. And we'll separate our feet about 3 feet apart, maybe 4 feet, depending upon how long your legs are. And you're just going to bend one knee, and then you're going to bend the other knee, and you're going to shift your weight a little right to left. And I'm not really concerned what you're doing, just that you're bending one knee and then the other. We're trying to slowly open up our adductors. Da, 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 da. Okay. Once you feel like you've done that a few times and you're pretty even, go ahead and come to stillness. With your hands on your hips, draw the shoulder blades onto your back, lift the heart, lift the gaze, and then we'll start to hinge forward halfway. Once you're halfway down, you might release your hands underneath your shoulders and then continue to allow your head to descend towards the floor. At that point, you might walk your hands back so your fingers are in line with your toes. You might walk your hands forward so you're more in this downward facing dog shape. But wherever you are, notice if you can just keep the length of your breath. If you can, again, let the breath be smooth and full and deep. Awesome. Let your head drop in. Just there we go. And you just pause and you breathe. All right. From here, let's go ahead and halfway lift. Let's bend our knees. And as gracefully as you can, you'll lower one shin to the floor. You'll lower the other shin to the floor. And you'll sit down. That was fun. And go ahead and extend your legs in front of you. And you just take a moment to pause here in Dandasana staff pose. We're not doing anything fancy here. You're just letting your spine be neutral for a moment. And after you feel like you've gotten enough of that, you're going to lay down on your backs. When you lay down on your back, make sure your blocks are somewhere nearby. Make sure your strap is somewhere nearby. And you're just going to lay down. That's the first thing you're going to do. Just lay down. Just lay down. I want you to notice what it feels like to just be flat for a little bit. If you want the hands touching the body, if you don't, that's fine. But just let yourself be flat. And after you let all your limbs be long, hopefully, you'll start to check in and notice what you notice. Some of you will be happy to stay right here. Some of you are going to bend your knees and plant your feet on the floor. You'll walk your feet outside of your hips and let your knees fall in towards each other. And then from here, wrap your arms around your torso and give yourself a hug. As we wrap our arms around our torso, some of you will feel like you want to actually wrap the fingertips underneath you so you can maybe feel your shoulder blades on your back body. Some of you that will not feel good or might not even be possible depending upon how wide your shoulders are. But you just pause and you breathe here. Okay, listen very closely. You might need to walk your feet a little further apart, but we'll find out. You're going to keep your right leg as it is and just let your left knee fall towards the floor. So we're just finding internal rotation. Awesome. And you'll just take a couple of breaths there and feel what that feels like. And then you'll come back with both knees back into the midline, both knees even, and then you'll try the other side. So one leg stays exactly as it is, and the other one just internally rotates. Great. Take a couple of breaths there. And then you'll come back through center, both knees even. Okay. Maybe switch whichever arm is on top. Okay, listen closely. This time we're going to drop our right knee in. Cross your left leg over your right leg. So both legs, there we go. And now pull both legs all the way over to your left. And then maybe at this point, you open the arms out and you just take this gentle twist and you notice what it feels like to just find this internal rotation happening on your right leg as they fall to the left, and the left leg just creates a little bit of weighting, a weight there. Maybe your gaze goes towards your right hand or right shoulder. Awesome. Next in breath, come back through center. Unwind the legs. Feet are outside of hips. And we'll try that on the other side. So now your left leg just rolls in. You cross your right leg completely over your left leg. You pull your legs over to your right. And you look towards your left. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Nice. Next in breath, come back through center. Unwind your legs. Draw your feet hip distance apart. Then from here, let's go ahead and draw our knees into our chest. Slide your hands through the inner edges of your thighs. Grab the outer edges of your feet. Press your feet together. Open your knees wide and let your bum be really super duper heavy. See if you can soften your shoulders away from your ears. And maybe you happily stay here. Maybe you draw your knees towards the floor, your feet towards the sky, and take a Nanda Balasana, happy baby. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Okay. Very gently, you'll draw your knees into the chest, Apanasana. You might wrap your arms around the tops of your shin bones. You might tuck your chin to your chest, your knees to your nose to your knees, maybe your forehead, depending upon how much you can round. And then you'll gently let that go. At this point, if there's anything else that your body feels like it might need, by all means, please do that. If it feels like you want to take Supta Baddha Konasana or Setu Bandha Sarvangasana bridge pose, if it feels like you might want to do another twist, by all means do that. But just allow yourself to tune in, to listen to the body, and to breathe with and be with the sensations. I love this idea that the body really does hold all of our stories, our conscious and unconscious ones, all of our experiences. And the more that we can allow ourselves to really tune into the wisdom of the body, sometimes we can make sense of some of those experiences. Sometimes we can release them. But in either case, we do have to slow down a little bit. We do have to give it time to reveal itself. We have to give ourselves time and space to allow it to be revealed. And so, as you're in these last few shapes, whatever feels appropriate for you at this moment, I want you to just notice if you can deepen the breath. I want you to notice if you can soften any tension that may not be needed. I want you to notice if you can continue to allow the mind, the thoughts to soften, to slow down. Okay, those of you that are in still working in movement, fantastic. Take your time, do what you need. The rest of us, let's start to make our way to our final resting pose. When you find yourself in your final resting pose, I do encourage you to make sure you are supported in whatever way that feels appropriate for you. So whether that means using some of the props, whether that means covering the body with clothing or fabric. Right? And then once you feel settled, we're gonna end with some very conscious and deliberate breath. So let's go ahead and exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Two more times, just like that. Allow the breath to really fill your whole body. And then allow the breath to leave the whole body. Last time, allow the breath to just really fill all the little crevices of your internal physical space. And then exhale, allow it all to dissipate, to leave. The next time you breathe in, you'll hold the breath for a beat or two at the top, filling that energy as it circulates inside of you. And then you'll exhale and let it all go. The bottom of the exhalation, feel the energy as you hold it out, or rather, it's left and nothing has come back in just yet to replace it. And you'll take that two more times. So big breath, hold at the top, Big breath out. Hold at the bottom. One more time. Big breath in. Hold at the top. Big breath out. Hold at the bottom. This next time, as you draw the breath in, you'll again hold at the top, maybe a beat or two, and then see if you can sip in just a little bit more air, a little bit more breath. And then exhale, let it all go. At the bottom, hold it out a beat or two, and then repeat. Inhale, draw the breath in. At the top, hold it for a beat or two. Sip in just a little bit more, being with the sensations. And then exhale, let it all go. Bottom of the exhale, hold on empty. Do that one more time on your own. And then after your exhalation, just allow the breath to fall back into its natural, involuntary rhythm. As the breath falls back into its natural pace, the invitation is to see if you can stay with it, to not control or direct it, but just to be present with it. I'll leave you here with you for a couple of moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice if there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape. If there is, please stay here. When movement, when life, when breath does call you, allow it to begin to deepen and expand in a way that feels gentle and nurturing. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll start to make your way to your right side. From your right side, you'll roll your chest more towards the floor. Press into your left hand and walk your spine up to vertical. When you're upright, maybe you sit in Sukhasana again with ankles underneath your knees. Maybe you sit in Siddhasana with your ankles in line with each other. But you'll just take a moment to remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones. You'll plant your hands wherever feels comfortable on your thighs so that your heart, your chest space stays open. You'll soften the jaw. You'll soften the eyes into the sockets and soften the eyelids over the eyeballs. Then in this internal space, again, find that connection. The sit bones now are rooting down directly into the floor. And as they root down into the floor, into the support underneath you, you might feel the ricochet, the length from the pelvis back up through the spine, the vertebra. Again, broaden the collarbones, soften the shoulders down the back. Our capacity to be with, to breathe with, is, I think, our ability to sit in the uncertainty that life presents us moment by moment. And it allows us to sit with it in a way that keeps our hearts open, a way that keeps us open, both to ourselves, the universe, as well as others. So as you're here for these last few moments, these last few breaths, I want you to remind yourself that our practice is an opportunity for us to continue to remember that we can do those hard things, that we have those muscles to balance an uncertainty, to step into the unknown, to reach for things actively and consciously, and to, I guess in essence, live without abandon to some degree. So we'll take our last few breath cycles here, finding a moment of gratitude for that inner resilience that we each have, finding gratitude for each other and for being in community. And then we'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Guide your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Really connect the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and then lift the sternum into the thumbs. Softly exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in through the nose. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light, the breath, the awareness within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, the awareness within each of you. Namaste.